Never ask a man questions about what he feels, period. You can talk about what you feel and what you think and what you wish and what you want and what you like, what you don't like. All that's fine. That's the inner world of you. Don't penetrate him. If you ask questions, you're just penetrating him. You can ask questions to sort of warm up the conversation. It's kind of awkward for a woman just to start talking, because if you have a girlfriend, if you want to talk to her, usually you say, how are you? How are your kids? Whatever. You first ask them questions, and then that person talks for a little while. Now they have to listen to you. That's so the rules on Venus is it's reciprocal. It's not that way on Mars, okay? If I have a friend and a guy calls me up and he starts talking to me, and I say, great, good. Oh, that's wonderful. And he doesn't ask me any questions, I'm not upset. I'm not bothered by that. I'm fine with that. And if I want to say something, I'll say something, and normally I will. Okay. So men don't wait to be asked. Okay. But when you're dating a guy that can be, you don't know each other, you're trying to find out what's in common, share things. It's a little awkward to just start talking. I get that. So what you do is you can ask your natural questions, but very brief. Let him talk a little bit. Then you say, that makes such good sense. These are magic words. That makes sense. Well, that's a good idea. I hadn't thought of that. And another one is, well, you're right about that. Or that reminds me of. So you give it what's called a buffer. Well, that makes sense. That reminds me of. And you start talking about what you want to talk about. Or you say, well, that makes sense. I have a different point of view. And you express your different point of view. And then what's going to happen is he's got monitors up. As she expresses her different point of view, is she trying to change my point of view? Is she judging my point of view? Is she saying my point of view is wrong? That's why you have to immediately go, if you're going to have a different point of view, you have to share that different point of view, because he needs to know who you are. And if he doesn't know who you are, there'll be no attraction. If you have to hide anything, basically on the intellectual level, it's not going to go anywhere. So it's okay to have a different point of view. Good if you have a different point of view. Differences are good. Differences create attraction, as long as your perspective is not making his perspective wrong. I have a different point of view. Now, what he's going to do, because he doesn't understand these communication skills, is that, why would you think that? And I say, oh, that's just my experience. And you have no attachment to defending your point of view or trying to change his point of view. I was dating a woman, it was just turned off right away when I said something that she disapproved of. And then she spent how could you say that? And why would you say that? A lot of questions just annoyed and irritated me. And I just don't need this in my life. So we did studies, we teach our classes. One of my books, Mars, Venus in the Workplace, we teach classes in the workplace. We do surveys of men, what makes them, what they don't like about women in the workplace is one of the, what would you put at the top of the list for men? And what they'll say is, she asks too many questions. Questions and it's a way a woman can connect. If two women are together, you ask questions and you connect that way. You're getting somebody to open up by asking questions. You don't want a man to open up. What you want to create bond and have him call you back and have him be interested in you and having you to actually like him more. Because, even though that was an example you gave me, Michelle, the real issue is women become very picky with the men that they have. Okay. I can't find, he's got a job, he's good, he's nice, but I'm not attracted to him. I'm not feeling passion for him. And that's just your fault. Okay. That is, you've got to get in touch with enough estrogen to where you can depend on him for what's most important. You can accept him for the ways he's not perfect, and you can appreciate what he does for you, that he's in your life. These are the key factors that raise testosterone in men. Is asking for help, which means I can depend on you for something, asking for help. So awkward for women to do when they feel I can do it myself. You can do everything yourself, except you can't be happier or without a man.
Well, I think for a lot of women, because I was single into my 40s, so I understand this on some level. I think for a lot of women, they have learned to be so independent out of necessity, or because they haven't felt like they've had another choice. And now they've kind of gone so far to that side that it feels so vulnerable to even say, I would really love to have a man in my life. I mean, some of the women that I work with, it's like a big deal for them to even be able to say that. And then to accept help from a man. Like one of my clients gave an example of, she's on a trip she's got a heavy suitcase that she's trying to lift up into the overhead bin. And a man said, "Oh, I can lift that for you. I can help you." And she's like, "No, I got it." Like they've become so independent because they felt out of need or necessity they've needed to. And so it almost feels scary to them to even speak the words or admit or say to themselves that they would really love to have a man or that they could need a man. And I've encouraged my clients, if a man offers to do something nice for you, even though you can do it for yourself, say yes, thank you. Let him, appreciate him. And I've learned so much about this from my years of being single and now having been married to my husband. When he sees me smile or me light up, or I say thank you, or oh, that's so nice, or yes, please, he's just as happy as he could be. You could just see him beaming. He's so pleased that he can do something for me, and that I'm happy about it.
That's exactly it. Here I'm as a man. I gave a talk last week to all these wonderful people, and standing ovation, that makes me happier. They could have just walked out and said nothing. I'd still be happy. But when you give somebody a standing ovation, you're happier. And that's why I go, okay? I don't need the money. But I know if they really appreciate me, I'm certainly helping them, because I also want to help, not just have somebody say, good job. I want to.
Right.
And that's what that's what he's here for, is to be in service of the world, but in service of a special woman. See, that's a big part of it. Nothing can raise his testosterone as high as a woman whose estrogen levels are not going up in his presence. This is just our biology, that we are drawn to each other, that the attraction is there. And you want to feel that attraction. As we get older, it's harder to feel it because our hormones start going down. So, you do get an advantage when you're dating. In the beginning of a relationship, it is new, and that does produce more estrogen for women. It does produce more testosterone for men. But now you're dating for 3 months or 6 months, the newness has gone away. You don't get free testosterone and free estrogen. It's just it's not automatic. So the man is not motivated and the woman is not as happy. She's not going to be as happy in the relationship. She'll have a lot of complaints. Will start, well, he didn't do this, or he should do this. And it just, your brain starts going into what's missing when your estrogen levels are too low. And this is, again, biology for those that kind of go, what is all this hormone stuff? Well, there's Mars hormones and Venus hormones. And Venus hormones, even after menopause, you still have plenty of estrogen if you stimulate it. So this is our genes, female genes will produce estrogen if they're stimulated. When you're younger, you don't depend so much on stimulation. Nature gives it to you automatically to a great extent. But as you get older, you have to, in a sense, trick your body and say, I'm still of childbearing age. I'm still useful in the world, and the body will reward you. That's one way of looking at it. You have the ability through your relationships to generate Mars hormones or Venus hormones. They're there. And you have to do something to generate them. Men need to have to do something for a woman. And that's the thing. After 50, 55 for men, there's such a drop for the average male. He just wants to retire, okay, because he doesn't have a wife who's able to motivate him to take action and continue. Or if he has the good fortune of a job that truly rewards others. Some men don't feel their job is so useful. But when you have a job that's so useful, that's a big testosterone producer. But then if you come home to a wife that doesn't appreciate that part of you and appreciate you, it can drop right down. So I see a lot of very powerful, successful men who lose love for their wives. They're not attracted to their wives because the dopamine is gone. His work gives him testosterone, but his intimate relationship doesn't, because it's not intimate. And what's required for intimacy is for women to open their heart and reveal what's inside, which is the part of them that needs help.